last video here is just about organizing your computer and some of your digital files. Some of these tips I'm sure they've talked about in your computer classes, so please forgive the redundancy. Some of them I don't think they have, so please take some time to watch right to the end, and maybe these things will be useful for you, especially if you're someone that's enjoying the computer for your recording. They're useful things. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is keeping a clean desktop. So if you have a desktop that looks like this, it might be time to tidy that up. And the reason why is if you go to your desktop, it's something called overwhelmed or choice, kind of overwhelmed by choice. So if you're looking at all these things, even if you're kind of tuning them out, you're basically causing your brain to sort through, even subconsciously, what you have to work on and that kind of thing. So if you tidy up your desktop, it will save you a lot of time. So I'll show you what I've done here for mine. Okay, so I have the main folders that we use because my wife shares this computer with me, and we have put everything into kind of specific files for that. Okay, so only the things I really use are on the desktop, and that's it. All right. And then I know there's always times when you're like, oh, you're so busy, you don't have time to sort things. So one of the things Marianne taught me is to have a folder on all my computers that says to sort. So I don't have time to sort something, I just put it in there. You can see I have tons of stuff I have to go back and at some point have to sort through all that. Okay, but it helps you to keep a clean desktop. First thing, clean desktop. Second thing, when you're labeling files for music, I want to show you what I've done here. Here's a song I'm working on. It's called Cry, Cry, Cry. And when I actually name the piece, I actually name it by a number and what I'm working on, so that when I forget, when I leave this piece, sometimes I leave it for a month because I'm just busy. And that way when I come back, I know immediately, oh, I'm working on the second verse. I'm working on the bridge. I'm working on this, all right? And each of the pieces that I'm working on is in a subfolder by its title. So that way you're not using the title every time. You're just using the number of where I am at. And then I also have what I'm working on, all right? And that way there's also some backup versions as well, all right? So I'm guessing too they talked about some of this stuff in your computer classes, your business class with Miss Miller or Mr. Steven or Mr. Casey, but I always take some time to clean out my computer as well. So I have some compressed air. I do that every month. Just some general maintenance like that. Keeping your computer clean is really important. Keeping the fan clean. In terms of updates, that's always a good idea too, okay? And of course I say that knowing that I have Windows 7 still installed on my desktop here, but trying to keep your computer up to date, taking some time every month to just back up your files too is a good idea. So I keep a portable hard drive, okay? They're not too expensive now. I think you can get one for $100, and it's really a good $100 well spent when you've got to back up all your files. I keep that especially as a teacher because I have all your marks, and it's part of my job and my responsibility to make sure that I'm backing up your marks and keeping track of that. Plus I have all my music on here too. It's also a good idea, depending on how hardcore you are, but to keep this in a different room in case you're broken into or in case there's a fire, that kind of stuff. Or that kind of thing. All right. The last thing I'll say about these are just random tips that come to mind. When you're trying to create a good computer environment for yourself, is being really careful about which websites you visit on your computer. I think you can kind of read that how you want. But I know some of the websites that are definitely ones that you don't really think about are when you're going to news websites, and then they have different links at the bottom. So kind of one of the things I found that has crashed my computer in the past is when I'm going through a website, and then I see something in the bottom. It's like Brad and Angelina Jolie adopt another kid, right? And you're one of those kind of sketchy news things, and you click on that, and all of a sudden you've got a virus. So also having some antivirus software on your computer is good, and I think that's it. All right, so if you have any other tips, there's probably 1,000 things I didn't think of. Please feel free to post them on the the Google class there, because I am not an expert in computers in any way. So anything you have to share would be really valuable. So